Hi, my name is Bodie with AV and I am the Millumin Certified Trainer with AV as well as all things IT and video. Today, we're going to go over Millumin to take standard PNGs and animate them on the timeline. So let's jump into that. What we're going to do today is we're going to go over Millumin and how to take standard PNGs and turn them into animated properties that we can play within Millumin, right? So we're going to focus on the timeline here. So what we're going to do, we're going to open this up. As you can see, I'm using a beta version, but I digress. You should still have this, everything that you need. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about our library over here. Um, we're gonna do a Finder folder, right? So we're gonna find those elements that you have downloaded now to attempt to recreate this. And this is gonna be the AV Educate elements. Pull that up. And as you can see inside here, we have all the elements that we need in different folders, your mover lights, your gremlins, and your set elements. So what we're looking currently right now is at the dashboard. So the dashboard is where you typically put elements like, let's use some of the shaders, for example, to run your show, right? But the client gives you some PMGs and they're like, hey, we need X, Y, and Z to happen, basically, right? So you're just, using it to play and play, right? So, but we're not going to do that. The client's like, hey, I gave you some elements. I'd like to see them animated for us. Well, we can go into the timeline here. So what the timeline is, it allows us to bring items in, layer them, and adjust them with keyframing, right? And I'll go over what the keyframe elements are and things like that. But for this exercise, we're going to just be using a standard background. And when you drop it on your timeline, if you hold shift and drag back, it'll put it to the front of the timeline for you. So we're going to be using this background. And then we're going to be having Oscar, which Oscar here is going to be put on a different layer. So to create another layer, you can either come to this button down here and just simply click add, or you can hit Command L and it'll create another layer for you. So we're going to use this layer and we're going to pull Oscar the AV Tech. So we have Oscar the AV Tech. It's a little big right now. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go over here and we have our layer defined modes. We have the blend, the opacity. Opacity makes them brighter or darker. Positioning is where we move him. As you see, I move him. His numbers move. The positioning numbers move. Constraint, we can make him normalize the canvas, crop to canvas, fit the custom canvas size, crop to canvas size, or stretch to a canvas size. We have our scale and our rotation, and then there is some audio routing, but we're not going to be touching on that now. So with the scale, let's say he is quite big. So let's go down to 50%. Now, it still looks a little big for me, right? So we are going to make him go to 30%. So what we're going to do is, that looks about right. That looks the size about right. So we're going to make him look like he is on the stage deck here. So 680 looks about to be the number, right? And we want him to run from off the screen onto the screen, jump up onto this box, run across, come down, and then exit out the doorway is what we want to do. So I'm going to show you the way that I would do this and how we can handle that, right? So let's start with him off the frame here. We know 680 is what it looks like, him coming onto the screen. So we'll put that position there. And then what we're going to do, in order to make him look like he moves, we're going to make a keyframe. And what it is you right click on whatever position you're trying to adjust to make a keyframe for, and we're going to animate the property. So with that animated property, you see it brings another tabbing here. I'm going to shrink this up a little bit so you guys can see the layering. If you click this button, it'll resize your canvas so that way it stays within the gray matter, calling it the gray matter, of your canvas layering in order to be able to see what's going on. So this looks like a good position where we want him, right? So we'll go ahead and create a keyframe here. And then as we play the video along, we want him right about here to kind of be coming in. So we want him to be right there, right? So we know it's negative 680. We want it around there. We've created that keyframe, right? So with the keyframe positioning, as you can see here, you can adjust these keyframe positionings by kicking on that keyframe. And, you know, I like rounded numbers, so we're just going to make it 270 or 260. And then you have your different easing points. You have your linear points, your ease in and out, ease out, hold, and Bezier. We're going to be pretty much using the linear feature on this, but I'm going to kind of walk through and show you. So, okay, now when we play this video, play a little bit more. Let's go about here. We're going to take him and we're going to make him go up here, right? And that looks about right. That's a keyframe. We're going to be using multiple keyframes to make this segment happen, right? So just keep that in mind. And then we'll go back, and this is what it'll look like when he comes in. Boom. And he starts jumping up, right? I like that, right? So now we need him to land on this. So we'll go ahead and we'll kind of pull through a little bit. And we're going to make him move on top of here, right? So let's click away from that. Yeah, it looks like he landed on perfectly fine. So we're just going to make it 60 is where he's going to be. And 35 is where he's going to be, right? So now we've made this segment to where he comes in, runs in, jumps up in the air, and then lands on the top of the thing. So on top of the rack, right? So now we need him to move across this rack, jump down here, and exit stage. So we're still working on the same thing. So what we can do now is we know we're going to need a longer element, right? So we just drag that out a little bit. Let's not make it too long. Let's drag it out to about here. And then we'll drag that out to match. So if you hold shift while you're doing that, it will line those up for you. So now, okay, we've had him landing. We want him to start making his way. So we'll create another keyframe point here and we will put it there. And we know it's 60 is the number we're looking for. So now he's moved there, right? So we just keep replaying it, make sure everything's moving the way it needs to go. Running, and then he's there. So we want to make it like a little hop, not necessarily come down. So what we'll do is right here, we'll make another one that goes here to make it look like he jumped a little bit. And then it plays, right? Boom. And then we'll make him come down here. We'll call it 191, 583, right? So I've made those keyframe parameters, excuse me. Take a drink real quick. And he jumps up, runs across, jumps up again, lands, and starts his journey to run across the last rack. So right about here, we want him to come across here, move here. We know our number is 191. Like I said, I have issues. I like round and whole numbers, so don't mind me. You do it the way you want to do it. Works best for your workflow, right? So we know now he is going to, we're just going to come back a little bit. We're not going to keep rewinding it all the way. Jumps, lands, starts moving, right? We want him to take that little hop again. So we'll give him a nice little jump there. 115, 100. And then we want him to take that hop and land back down on the stage flooring, which we can figure that number out if we go back to this keyframe. We know it's 680. So if we go to this keyframe, just that 680 and 950. Now we want him to exit that door. So right now we've got him doing everything. And I know it's a lot of keyframes, guys. Just try to do what you can do and keep up with everything that you can keep up with. So he's going to come in, he's going to jump up, land on those racks, run across the racks, jump up, come down, going to jump down again. So we're missing a keyframe that we put in, right? So where's the keyframe? So this is from here. We're missing a keyframe in between. So let's go to this keyframe. 191, 191. So that's his land. So that drop. Boom. Perfect, right? We want him to land there. So now we want him to go out the door. So there's obviously ways where we can make him like disappear out the door, right? So there's a couple different ways we can do this. The way I'm going to show you how to do it is we're going to have him run up into the door and we're going to change his opacity. So I'm first going to make that keyframe of him running up to the door, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to make the keyframe about here, where he ends up here. Okay. So then we go back, boom, 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 runs up to the door, right? Cool. Got everything going. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do an opacity keyframe. So we're going to add that to our animate property. And we know here, want it 0, right? So it's going to make it look like he ran through the door. Excuse me. What happened? Why is he 0, right? So the way the layering works is, first off, it's layer adjacent. Comes from the bottom to the top. So anything that's on the bottom is going to be underneath everything on top. And with the opacity layer, the last number used is going to be the number remembered for that entire layer. So with that, we have to make a keyframe here for him to be at 100%, right? So now, boom, he's in at 100%. Cool, right? But as you notice, he's going to start running through, slowly fade out. That's not what we want. We want him to fade out as he gets to the door, right? So we're going to take this and we're going to move this to about here. We're going to take this timeline again. If you hold shift, it'll line up with that keyframe. And what we want to do is we want to make another keyframe there, and this value be 100%. So that way now, when we play it, this is what it looks like. Comes down, he jumps down, and now he's gone out the door. Perfect. That's the way that I want you to test with first. And then this is what we're going to do. We have some other set elements here, right? So we actually have the door. We know we need to adjust this layer because it's not lining up. We need it to line up properly. So let's make it look like it belongs, right? Where the magic of television comes in. So for this example, this is about as close as I'm going to get it. So if we take this now and trim that back there and we play it, you'll notice that he kind of doesn't disappear, right? Pull that there before he goes opaque. We want this to sit like that, right? So what we can do now is we can take out this opacity layer, or we can just keep this. We're going to remove that the opacity. Layer, right click, remove property. So now he doesn't go invisible, right? That comes in. We're going to extend this, extend to the end. What we're going to do is we're going to actually make a keyframe to make him look like he's running behind the door, is what we're going to do. So at this point right here, he's there. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this layer and we're going to take another keyframe. Oop. So if you just Command Z, undo, and does what you needed to do. We were on the wrong layer. So we're going to take this, still grabbing that. Okay, that's cool. So we need to lock that so it can't be moved. Every one of these has a locking feature. We're going to click on that layer now. We're going to have it play out a little bit longer. That opacity layer, right? So animate property, those are in there. So what we want to do is we want him to start moving and going to 0. So we're going to add that, change that 0, and then we're going to add the property up there. This keyframe on him would move him that way, right? Just to give it a little look like he's running out the door and disappearing is what my goal is here. Now, it's not going to be perfect. I'm doing what I can to get it to try to achieve this for the client, right? Boom, 0, perfect. So now you're done. You're completely done. We've made it look as good as we can and get everything in as good as we can. So what we're going to do now is we go to this setup. We want to make sure we trim this timeline. So you can have a time in cursor, time out cursor. All timelines start at a 3-minute position. So we're going to go ahead and click this out. And now look. See all my keyframe parameters that I've used on my timeline. You see where everything comes in. And now we just play and it comes in. Oscar jumps up the rack, runs across the rack, jumps down, and jumps down and goes out the door, right? Well, what is Oscar escaping from? So this is where we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to bring a couple more elements in, and we're going to create another layer. So Command L, and it created another layer underneath here. So we're going to drag that up, which is all you got to do. And we're going to bring in one of our angry AV gremlins, right? Him to come in at the beginning to be seen. He's going to stretch all the way to the end. Wow, he is giant. He is massive. So we knew we took Mario down to 30. Let's bring him down to 30%. Perfect. So our AV gremlin is down on the deck here, walking back and forth. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So we're going to want him to stay within the rack space. So we're going to use our keyframes again, our positioning keyframes. So we're going to add an animate. We're going to say it starts. Oops, sorry about that. Wherever your red marker is going to put a keyframe. So make sure we drag it back. We're going to say he starts here. Then as Mario runs in right about here, we want him to start moving here. And we want him to turn now and walk back. So how do we achieve that, right? So this is what it's going to look like. Mario's going to come jump in. He's going to move over. That's too fast. So we need to slow him down. It's too slow now. We're going to bring it back here. Right when Mario is about to jump off, right? We want it lined up with the timeline. So we want him to turn around. So you see this segment line here? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to split the segment. Now what this is doing is making two parts of the segment go off. So we want, super important, name your segments. Actually, I lie. We're going to split the media. We are going to make the media mirror right here. Right? So you have to add another layer. That's on me, guys. I apologize. Changing things the way it on the fly like this. Okay, so cool. So we're going to drag this here. He's going to come in and disappear. So we're going to go Command L. We're actually going to take this mirror effect off. of this one, we're going to take that same AV gremlin. We're going to drop it in right here. We are going to not drag both of them, just drag one, line it up with that keyframe. And we are going to take this layer. We know it needs to be 30%. We know we want to mirror this. So we go to current media, add, mirror. And then when I make it 680, and then we know they're at 630. We're going to round that number out to make it nice and even. And then we're going to do the same thing on this layer. We're going to start at 630. So now, see what happens? It shows, kind of turns around, right? Again, we're doing this very quickly for the client. They're okay with the little hiccups, but we're going to add on that layer now animate property for the position. So we're going to put the position there, whoop, right? And then the end of the media, drag this out to the end of our timeline. And all the way at the end here, right before we want him to start walking right about there. So let's do position, drag him across there. And we know it's 680. Just make it a clean -10. And then let's see how quickly he walks. He walks pretty fast, right? So we want to bring that to video. Too slow. There. Cool. So our timeline's done now. So we've created our timeline. He's trying to avoid the gremlin, the AV gremlin. So Oscar jumps up, AV gremlin turns away. Boom. Now we've done our timeline. Now we can go back to our dashboard. We can name our timeline, right? So we can come over here, double click this, name it Oscar's Getaway. Just in case you had to make any more. And then come in here, bring it down there. And now we've done our timeline exactly how the client wants. We're going to have a final results video that will be with this file of assets. Let's see if you can recreate the results video with this file. Again, my name is Bodie with AV Educate. I am the Millumin certified trainer with AV Educate. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at info@aveducate.com. If you would like to learn more about Millumin, we do have certification courses with AV Educate at aveducate.com/classes. So come check us out, see what we've got going on, and hope to see you there.